Parashat Mishpatim. Parashat Mishpatim. It's a little, I won't say problematic, but kind of problematic. Why? Because after this amazing fireworks and production of Har Sinai, all of a sudden Moshe Rabbeinu comes down and he brings down with him a long list of mitzvot, what to do, what not to do. Which is, really, Moshe, come on, man. We are happy, we hear the colors, we see the sound. It's like we're having a psychedelic trip here, and all of a sudden you're coming down. Okay, guys, oh man, no, come on. It's you kill it. How did they call it? Party poopers, It's like we're happy now, and more than that, it looks like almost some kind of like a trap. That they kind of, the scheme or something, they put Bnei Israel. They said to them, listen, we're going to have now a big event, a big production. Here, fireworks, clouds, lightnings, this. Do you want it? And we say, yeah, we do. Okay. Here's the list. Look, this is what you have. But guess what? Wow! A list like this, a huge list of things. Wait a minute, I didn't sign for this. You told me I thought to say it on the board, Lord, this, don't do it. All of a sudden you give me Ve'ele, Mishpatim. Oh. It's bizarre. And again, why is the Torah in the middle? We didn't finish getting the Torah. Imagine, it's a movie, right? Comes a Hollywood production, the waves, the clouds, the whole entire thing like this. All of a sudden, pause. You're hearing like Vivaldi in the background. Or in the chase, they're driving in a car, and all of a sudden, two guys playing violin. Habibi, this movie is crazy. So in the middle of this whole thing, the Torah said, pause, commercial break. Ele Mishpatim. Is it IRS now? I have to play tax return. What is this thing? It's ridiculous. And why why do we have to do it like this? Let us celebrate a little bit, You should know that until today there are people who claim, even now, you hear it all the time, they claim against this notion that we have, and they really blame Judaism by being not spontaneous, not joyful, not spiritual. Right? And everything is, do this, do that, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. That's what Judaism is all about. Yeah, you give me like a burst of like this and everything. Sit down. And you hear this all the time. Judaism is dry, no spirituality, everything is a list of commands. So first of all, as always, we probably don't understand things right, which is very sad, because here we are supposedly doing mitzvot, and we don't know what the heck are we doing. And no idea what we're doing. But if you ask most people about mitzvot, they will tell you, Hashem says that, Torah says that, the rabbi has made it, all kind of like crazy things like this, but you hear the same thing. So first of all, let's look at the milah on the word mitzvah. We have to understand that the word mitzvah comes to hint, mishum tzivui, commanding. However, there's also a hint for that, mishum tzavta, beyachad. Tzavta in Aramaic is together. Excuse me. In other words, the mitzvah refers to connection. By doing the mitzvah, I am connecting, I am communicating not only with one another, because there are mitzvot which are related to one another between Adam v'chavero, a man and his fellow human being, but also between Adam l'makom. So it's a matter of interaction, connection. Now, if you look at this mitzvot like that, it actually is not bad. Mitzvot ben Adam l'chavero, between a person and another human being. Right? How to connect with another Jew? How do I connect with a Gentile? How do I connect We need to connect, not disconnect, connect. If I don't know how to connect, therefore I will disconnect. However, I do know. The Torah tells me how. The reason why people don't feel spiritual and so on and so forth, because they don't have any way to connect. It's too different. It's like you're trying to plug a USB into an RCA. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. A different, you know what RCA, the bananas, you know, they used to have like in the stereos, used to put like that. It just doesn't work. Or you take a European plug and you try to put it here. It's just not going, it's going to blow. It's not going to work. So comes the Torah and teaches you, gives you the vehicles. You're laughing, Eitan, what's a...
No, it reminded me of something when I was in Israel.
You plugged in something into...
It started coming out of the wall.
Yeah, because that's here it's 110, over there it's 220. Not only that, the plugs are different. Over there it's a 3-prong. And here it's like fat one and skinny one. Yeah. It's funny. So let's look at this. So this is, first of all, that's what mitzvah is all about. Mitzvah, tzavta, together, connection. Then comes Moshe, and he comes to the people, he says, to the Am Yisrael, he says, Ve'ele ha-mishpatim. Mishpatim sounds like judgments, you know, it's like Ela Mishpatim, or sentences, or these other words. Now there are 3 types of mitzvot. 3 types. There is a Mishpatim, Edot, Vechukim. Mishpatim will be all those laws, all those commandments in which I could understand, you know what, it makes a lot of sense. For example, take care of the unlucky ones or the less fortunate one within your society, like the widows and orphans. I understand, makes sense. Help the poor person. I mean, there were people who argue with that. Why should I help anyone? But, you know, I understand it makes sense to help people. It's a matter of social responsibility. And until Judaism, look at what the contribution. And then I'm so angry. More. Not so much. I mean, I do get angry about the hatred of the world towards the Jews and lack of recognition of the contribution of Judaism to society, to humanity. But more than that, I'm angry at the Jews that don't even dare to open their mouth and to say, hey, you know what we are contributing to you? All the social welfares and charities. And so it is a Jewish invention. You never heard anybody created a society of giving, of caring. And yet everybody keeps their mouth shut. So all those Nazis who hate the Jews and our whole welfare, they're only on welfare because that's a Jewish invention. So shut up. Nobody says anything. Do you know why we don't say anything? Because we're doing it because we have to. We're not because we're thinking. We're not doing mitzvot like robots. So these are the Mishpatim. Mishpatim is what I understand. I could understand with my intellect what it is to do. Edot. Edot are those things, mitzvot, commandments, in which don't really make so much sense to me. However, throughout learning and contemplating and learning, I could understand what's the bottom line of that. Why is it like this and why is it like that? I could understand. Chukim are the mitzvot or the commandments in which doesn't make a difference of what and how long would I learn. I would never, ever, forever. Sounds like a Demis Rousseau song. Ever, forever. Yeah, you don't know, guys. You don't know Demis Rousseau's. You don't know Demis Rousseau's. You only know because I sent it to you. I do music education 101 to piano man here. Demis Rousseau was a Greek singer during the late 60s. Huh?
70s, no?
60s and 70s, yeah. Beginning it was in Aphrodite's Child. He has an amazing voice. He looks like a caveman, but he has a voice like an angel. So, I don't know, find that.
In Russia was popular.
Yes, in Israel too. Finally! So, you're never going to be able to know what is the reason that Kadosh Baruch Hu told us to do, what are the reasons behind it. I would never be able to understand. You do this because of something else, or different reason. The reason why we do those mitzvot, this kiyum, this establishment of this mitzvot, and I switch here the lamed and the shin, is today I'm having a hard time, maybe because I'm not feeling so good. I had such a hard time typing, it was unreal. So, is the kiyum of the mitzvot is only because of emunah, of belief. I have emunah. And through emunah that I'm doing so, I am connected to this mitzvot at the highest, most superior level I could. Because it's not done because of fear or because it makes sense to me, it's because of emunah, of Jewish belief. Here it gives me an opportunity to basically become free. Intellect, and listen, I'm very big on intellect, on knowledge, is a tool in which could give you a lot of freedom. But you gotta be careful with that, because with every key, as they say, with every key to heaven, the same key can open the doors for hell as well. You just have to decide which door knob you're going to use it. So sometimes intellect will also be a restraining element which holds you down to really elevate, to break away from gravity, let's put it this way. So, now let's look at just like a quick overview of the dinim, quick overview of what are we talking about in this week's parasha. So first of all, we have the laws of a Jewish slave, men and women. Of course, Judaism, the Torah, does not promote slavery. However, you have to understand that at the time, slave and slavery were the engine of society. It turned up to be that those people who were slaves always turned up to be the most abused and used people. The Torah says, Habibi, mister, even these people have rights. You have to feed them whatever you have to eat. When you eat, you have to feed them. You have to feed them before you eat. You have to provide them with a house. You have to provide them with husband and wife to be able to live like humans. Not like it happened here in the South. Of course, which is interesting to me, is very interesting to me. The biggest traders in Africans into slavery, those who sold them, were Muslims. Muslims used to catch them, they used to sell them to the British, to the Dutch, to the Portuguese, and yet you have a lot of blacks. If I was a black person, I would never, ever, ever become Muslim. Anything but. I will become an Eskimo before I become a Muslim. It just doesn't make sense to me. So, it deals with violence, all kind of forms of violence, whether it's murder, killing, which is different than murder, of course, damages to people, cursing people, damages that were created to the property of a person, stealing, robbery, guards, seduction, a person who seduces a girl to have relations with, the prohibition of not taking advantage of the people who are weak in your society, orphans, widows, resident aliens. whether it's law, judicial laws of not tipping the court ruling to one side or the other. Of course, basar bechalav, behemat trefa, and so on. Different laws regarding entering Eretz Israel, and so on and so forth. And of course, at the end, idol worshipping and idol worshippers in the land of Israel. After Moshe gives them those mitzvot, there is a big ceremony. They do a ceremony. They make in the brit, the covenant between God and man and Am Israel. Moshe builds an altar and brings sacrifices on the foothills of Har Sinai, together with Aaron, with the Skenim. And after that, he goes to Har Sinai to get Luchot HaBrit, and he stays there for 40 days and 40 nights. So, of course, if we are talking about the spiritual hype, all of a sudden it says, okay, guys, everything was good, music and shuffling and dancing, and all of a sudden, guys, it's a little quiet here. Where's Moshe? Where's Moshe, by the way? It's cool. Moshe, he went to the mountain. He went to the mountain. For how long? For how long? 40 days and 40 nights. Wow. It's a long time. Yeah, anybody wants to eat something? Anybody hungry? Let's put a little veal, a little egel on the fire. Let's make us a little egel because we have nothing else to do. What exactly happens here? We know that it says Ve'ele Mishpatim. The Mefarshim tell us, of course, that the Mishpatim connects us Ve'ele, that this parasha, this portion of the Torah, is really connected to last week. It's like one thing, just divided into two. And it says, of course, over there is a very interesting. I was discussing with one of my neighbors last week. We were discussing the dialogue between Hashem and Moshe Rabbeinu when he tells him, "Go tell the people." He says to Moshe Rabbeinu, "Listen, these people are my people. They're going to be Goy Kadosh Mamlechet Kohanim, a holy nation and a nation of priests. And go tell them what I said." Moshe Rabbeinu said to him, "Listen, I don't know about Goy Kadosh Mamlechet Kohanim. I don't see what you see. I mean, I know how much they complain. You tell them. Look at this over there." Moshe Rabbeinu says, "Moshe, no. You go, and you put it in the ear." Hashem says, "Okay." Then Hashem says, "Rega, but before you go," and he goes to the people, and the people said, "Naaseh, we'll do it. All right." Moshe says, "Terrific, let's go." Kadosh Baruch Hu says, "Rega. Hegebalta et ha'ar." Make a little boundaries. Of course, it's a lesson for us, a big lesson for us. When you are about to become a teacher or an educator, your starting point is that they are all your students are Goy Kadosh Mamlechet Kohanim. In other words, every one of your students has the potential to become a holy man and a high priest. In other words, on that level. That's your starting point as an educator. However, even if you're able to make them so excited, you have to do it slowly. Higbalta. Don't tell them to climb too high. Slowly. But you can't look at your students and think that they are stupid and they are dumb and they are incapable. And you're only there to pick up your paycheck. If so, do me a favor, don't bother. That's an instruction for an educator. Everybody is capable. And you should put them in the ears Tell the people that I said that they are Goy Kadosh u'Mamlechet Kohanim. Tell them that they should know the expectation. Tell them the boundaries. Hegbalta. Tell them the boundaries. It's not all free for all. There are limits. However, they can go as high as they can. They can go as high as they want. And if you even reach it, it was their choice. You are there to help them become the best that they could become. Unfortunately, this does not happen all the time. You hear teachers telling students, "Oh, you'll never become something. What do you have problems? What do you know?" Why would a kid go to school when you tell him things like that? They won't. Whatever you tell the child, he will be. Tell him he's stupid, he'll be stupid. Don't tell him too much that he's smart and he's the best, because then he won't do anything. Tell him, listen, you're capable of a lot, and I'm very proud of your effort. Create a tension. A focal point with boundaries, so he won't divert and get lost. So we know, so therefore this is a connection. And we said last week's parasha, Naaseh. This week's parasha, Naaseh, they said Naaseh, and then they say Naaseh v'nishma. Naaseh v'nishma is the crown and glory of Am Yisrael. That's what the big honor of Am Yisrael is when they say Naaseh v'nishma. So Naaseh over there is for the Mishpatim. We'll say, Hashem gave us a Torah, hey, we'll do it, no problem. Hashem came, we'll do it, no problem. The other Naaseh is for the Edot. Listen, we Naaseh, okay, we don't understand. However, we'll learn a little bit, we'll work hard, and we'll do this also. Naaseh v'nishma, as we said earlier, Naaseh v'nishma, that comes mikoch ha'emunah, that we do it from the power of emunah to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and mikoch ha'ahavah to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is where Am Yisrael shown his greatness. And by the way, I'll tell you two things on that, which we said last week. The other greatness of Naaseh v'nishma is when it comes to chukim, to halachot. Naaseh, we'll do it. I have to keep Shabbat. Oh, I'll do it. I have to do this. I'll do it. No problem. We'll do. Halachot, we'll do the halachot. However, we say Naaseh v'nishma. We should say Nishma v'Naaseh, but we say Naaseh v'nishma for a different reason, which I'll say to you in a second. But this is for something else. We'll do all the halachot. However, Nishma, when they said Naaseh twice, they said Bekol Echad, or they said Beyachdav, they said it in one voice, or they said it together. The Nishma comes to indicate to us that other people also have opinions, and I'll hear your opinions. However, we are all bound to halakha. First of all, we have to establish that we are all committed to this one halakha. But in the halakha, everybody's opinion is important. Unlike the conservative and reform, who said first Nishma, and if I don't feel like it, I won't do it. When I tell you, that's the Naaseh is not there. Your opinions are important. And that's the greatness of Am Yisrael, when he says, I'm willing to hear what the other person has to say. That's Ve'afta l'reacha kamocha. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, these are my people. And they're all committed together to my halacha. However, there's another reason for this Naaseh v'nishma, and which is really relevant. It's like a little secret, and is really relevant to our days today. If we say that my whole purpose in life is to be in asiyah, to do things, so first of all, I have to do the Naaseh. I came here to this world to do things. If you think about it, what meaning does life really have if I'm not doing anything, if I'm not in action, creating, doing? It does not really make a difference if you live your life for 40 years or you live to be 400 years old. How long, it does, of course, besides how long being a Chinese name, but life, your span of life is like being in a place. People are, let's say you go to a job interview. Ask you, how long were you in that job? For them, the how long you were in the job is more important than what did you actually do in that job. So how long you are in a place becomes really irrelevant in comparison to what have you actually done in that place. How was this place after you left? Was this place better after you left? So therefore it doesn't make a difference. If you're there for 5 minutes and you're able to make peace, rather than 50 years and haven't done a thing. People are not connected to asiyah, to doing, and they just sit on the side, they sit on the bleachers, and they complain. It's like all those analysts. They could sit down and to analyze, the coach did this, the player should have done this. You know what? Go down and let's say you play. Those, sofa quarterback, they should have thrown the ball. I want to see you taking your ball like this, throwing the ball, when you have like Godzillas running at you, and you need to think like, it's the same thing here. Those people are not connected to asiyah, which I don't understand why sports is so big if we are so smart, because he's doing the sport and I should watch him. If I like it so much, guess what? I want to play. That's why I like martial arts better than football. You can actually go on the mat and do something. How many times you watch a football game and you actually felt like going outside and throwing the ball out, rather than if you watch a Bruce Lee movie, you go outside, you want to start doing karate, in front of the mirror, right away you sign yourself up to the gym. But the idea is, so therefore it's irrelevant. Everything is, what did I actually do? And if it all determines on my asiyah, on my action, on how did I leave this place after how this place is after I'm gone, so Kodem Kol Naaseh. So first of all, we have to do. Let's do, because it's all about doing. We need to understand that the assurance for the way we live our life, that I'm living my life, the assurance for living the life, which is the so-called the big secret, comes from the motion of me doing those mitzvot and doing the halachot. If you don't feel connected to Judaism, it's because you haven't committed yourself yet to the motion of action, of doing things. I haven't seen a person who was active and giving from himself to others, creating this place into a better world, helping other people, all of a sudden say, you know what, I'm sick and tired of Judaism. I've never seen a person like this. Usually those people who live Judaism was people who were more passive than active into the Jewish life. They were too busy finding an opportunity to put the blame on somebody else than actually doing something. The friction that creates when you're moving will burn out any other uncertainty that you have. So the assurance that you have about life, about you, about your place in the world, in your universe, comes from actually doing. If you don't know, you don't do. That's the way I look at it. So if I would understand that, and I will do, and then I learn, I'll be better off. Why? Because I can always, and that's what happens to many people. Tell me, teach me, let me learn, and if it makes sense to me, I'll keep it. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. Listen, I'm probably wrong, or maybe wrong, even though I'm always right, but never mind. When somebody that keeps absolutely nothing comes to me and says to me, I want to keep something, I said, well, first of all, listen. If you want to learn, if you want to come to this side of the field, not a problem. You have to keep 3 things. Shabbat, Kashrut, Tarat HaMishpacha. Keeping the Shabbat, keeping kosher food, and sexual relationship. That's what you have to keep. Tefillin, we'll get to this. Start with that. In other words, in order to initiate some movement, you need to sometimes jumpstart the car. You don't take a car and says, okay, hold on. Anybody ever seen a manual for a car? It's like this big. So next time you buy a new car, I said to you, guess what? You are not allowed to drive this car until you read the whole manual. So, well, man, I'll learn as I go. Here too. Either you learn or you go. Because if you're going to sit down, but then the time you do it, you need new tires because they're rot. When I'm saying I'll learn and then I'll do it, I'll learn and I'll do it, you can always claim, hey, I didn't learn enough. Or I don't know, it didn't make sense to me. One way or another, at the end, if you're going to wait for that, at the end, you're going to end up doing nothing. Nothing will happen. It's all stay theoretical, and nothing will happen. And again, as we said, according to the Mefarshim, there's a chibur, vav ve'ele mishpatim, is vav chibur, connects this parasha with last parasha. So one needs to know that specifically after the big, let's call it the big ecstasy, or the spiritual ecstasy, comes the going down to the ground. We landing down. And this ground, of course, represents the Gashmi, represents the physical, which might be not so holy. And we need to understand that the quote-unquote unholy or regular or mundane things that we do here in this world, these and these only are our tools in the world. A person who is only interested in, picking up stars, putting flowers in the hair, the head in the clouds, California dreaming, to enjoy himself on ecstasies and all kind of psychedelic experience and so on and so forth, sooner than later, and in a pretty cruel way, will discover that he's basically disconnected from reality. That's what happens to many people who become Baalei Tshuva. They hear a big lecture, they go on fire. I want to keep Shabbat. I want to bring Korban Pesach. I want to build the temple. I'm going the Yeshiva in Israel. He grows his pelt, put his tzitzit out. He is in an ecstasy. He's like, he switched the uns of raving or whatever you guys do there to Nachman, Switched it. Now he's in the big ecstasy. He's dancing, he's this, he's happy. Besimcha gdola, achi, my brother, my this, everybody is big kumbaya. All of a sudden he drops down, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my goodness, what is this? And then the peot that he had here go behind the ear, then he cuts him, then he puts the tzitzit in, then he throws the tzitzit out, marries a shiksa, 2 kids later, or sameach, mar sameach, everything is out, goodbye. Why? Because he didn't commit himself to diligence of sitting down and doing something and continuing and growing. Did not create the limitations. Didn't create the boundaries. He was disconnected from that. It was all on the spiritual high, and he came down. And Dafka specifically, the dealing with the here and the now, with the physical, through Asiyat HaMitzvot, give ma'aser, learn the halachot, do all these things, give us the ability, or provides us with the ability to connect with high spiritual places that exist within us that we will not be able to reach. And Davka specifically with those things. Because only when you do that you can enjoy that connection, this moment that you had of epiphany that you had, or spiritual epiphany or revelation that you had. You need some kind of a vessel to restrain it, to hold it together. If I'm going to show you a beautiful, puff of view. You need to take a picture of it to look at it and to see it. Like a soldier that takes a picture of his beloved wife to battle, and he always looks at her and he remembers he has to come home. Dealing with the physical through Asiyat HaMitzvot helps us preserve that spirit. You can't have a non-stop spiritual high. You can't. It's impossible. Only through learning the mitzvot you could do so. Sitting down, learning, working. That's why I'm very big on trying to give a child a total Torah experience. A total Torah experience. Where he could grow and develop without, even if he goes to a year, to Bet Medrash in Israel or somewhere, no secular studies, nothing, just so he can realize that you can leave that, and he has the tools within him to get inspired, to use those tools, to use those skills, to experience a year, so he could take a picture of that and preserve it in his heart. Only when you're dealing with that you could connect, not only wake up to reality and to see that you're not disconnected, but rather connect to reality. Our job is to connect to reality, to improve reality, to make it more refined. The reality of the world outside that is a very unrefined place. However, it has all the tools in place to make it a well-refined place with values and virtues and morals and so on and so forth. However, we just keep on going to the wrong door, because for us it's either this or this. We never committed ourselves completely to that. In Israel, if you go to a religious kibbutz during Shnat Shemitah, they learn, because there's nothing to do in the land. They learn. You need this sabbatical of the mind to be able to realize that you could connect by learning Torah, that you can connect both worlds. You don't have to disconnect yourself completely, and it's wrong to disconnect completely from this world, to live in some kind of like a sphere, protected and shielded from the world. That's not the point. Or to be completely disconnected from Judaism and learning Torah. You don't need to make this decision versus that decision. You can hack them both together, tie them. And by doing so, continuing the flow, the spiritual flow, the abundance from that, and to wash away and to reveal the true colors of this world, which is good. And this is our job. So don't get discouraged when we have 613 mitzvot to do or not to do. Your question should be not why we have 613. Your question should be why only we have 613. Why are you limiting my tools? I want to connect more tools, more steps. That's why we have mitzvot derabanan and this opinion, and you can do to that, and different layers and so on and so forth. And that's why the Torah is endless. On every level that you do a mitzvah, the more you let go of the images that you have to do. My daughter told me some beautiful things. I was very proud of her. She said she's in Yerushalayim now for the year. And she says to me, Abba, it's so truthful here. I said, what do you mean? She says, in Eretz Yisrael, you go to the Kotel, you go to the certain Western Mall, you see people are praying there. And they really go there to pray. Religious, not religious, Jews, not Jews, Japanese. Yeah. People go to pray, and when they go there, they pray because they want to pray. It's real. The prayer is real. However, here in America, even those who pray don't most of the time don't pray. It's a show, it's a shtick. Today he prays with more like this because his kala is watching him. Or they're going to decide this one is, and he wants to show he's better. Even prayer is not prayer. They're going to shul to pray or they're going to shul to talk. That's the beauty of Eretz Israel. She says they went to a family in Katzrin, which is a town in Ramat HaGolan. And she said, Abba, they were the nicest people in the world. The nicest, so happy. Such truthful joy. She says, Abba, if you would see their apartment or the house that they lived in, if this house was in America, people will make campaigns for them, that like fundraising, the poor people and charity, and give them miser and give them money, and they were so happy and they felt so wonderful. And they have a tree in the back, a small backyard with fruit trees growing instead of grass growing, and they're the happiest people, and they're so happy with what they have and the schut that they have to live in the land. That I said, you know what, even just for that, it was worth to spend all those tens of thousands of dollars to send her to Israel to actually taste that. So I said to her, darling baby, do me a favor. Save that image in your heart. Engrave those feelings in your heart. Because these are the moments when you're going to have a doubt or drift. This is the moment where you're going to hold down to it. And you're going to see the real truthfulness. How does people do so? By connecting heaven and earth. If you let go, you get to Tel Aviv, Bar Minan. Hashem Yerachem, Balagan Shalem. Sometimes you go to Yerushalayim. In Yerushalayim you have Jews who hate Jews. Connecting heaven and earth. By doing the mitzvot. By learning. By realizing that we can do so. But staying in touch and in contact with reality. Through only Asiyat HaMitzvot. That's the only way to go about life. There's no other way. And don't fool yourself. Shabbat Shalom.